So now we're going to take agenda item 10, which is the Milton Road. We've obviously had a presentation. Vice Chair, would you have something on this that you'd like to comment on now?
Well, here I am. Yeah.
Without passing it down, maybe.
I think I've just learned a lesson for certainly for the purposes of this forum, and that will be to get things done earlier than this and get them emailed out to everybody in advance. So I would have, I suppose, apologise for not having done so earlier. I'm still going to set this round, and I'm still going to read it out. I suppose this is another amendment to the recommendations. That begins with the word note. But anyway,
can I just have clarity? Are you suggesting this as an amendment, or this is what you would like to see going forward, as in the Milton Road, and you will make sure that it's incorporated where possible?
I would like it as an amendment, please. But let's start with that and see where we go. That the Executive Board is recommended to note the findings in the initial consultation report, and as the other one said, and welcome the many detailed and high quality responses from residents and other stakeholder groups which have been used to shape the next stage, and then take forward the initial ideas in the do something option for further design work, including floating bus stops where highway space permits, but excluding the ideas for band turns in the Gilbert Road, Arby Road and King's Hedges Road junctions. This includes a single bus lane for the length of Milton Road in the direction of travel leading up to junctions. Segregated cycle lanes on each side of the road with additional on-pavement two-directional cycling on the west side of Milton Road from Arby Road to Gilbert Road. Mature tree planting and green landscaping within the highway throughout the route. Further investigation of options for Union Lane to recognise the limited existing connectivity for residents in East Chesterton, and I'll come to that when I've gone through these, Chair. Further investigation of options for Highworth Avenue roundabout ideas to evidence the benefits of any scheme and address the concerns of residents. C, agree to consider major changes to the highway layout at the Mitchell's Corner Junction for implementation as part of the ongoing Tranche 2 prioritisation work. D, note the further technical work that will be undertaken over the summer period. D, support the development of traffic management measures to mitigate displaced traffic and parking for the purposes of further consultation. F, request the Executive Director of Economy, Transport and the Environment to develop a detailed preferred option design as laid out in recommendation B above in section 43 of this report, and bring a report to the City Deal Assembly and the Executive Board for approval of further consultation. And G, note the procurement plan for project delivery, the revised project programme and the consultation plan set out in this report. So that's the amendment to the recommendations. And whilst I'm here, Chair, could I just touch on the Union Lane, and that's largely on behalf of colleagues and people living in East Chesterton. East Chesterton is sort of probably the only place within the city of Cambridge that only has 2 and 3, when we include Union Lane, exit and access points. They are bordered by the river, railway, and the A14. So there is, once you get into the far reaches of East Chester, there are only 2 or 3 ways out. By closing Union Lane, I suspect that would push traffic into Kendall Way, which is really not an ideal route for traffic to take to get to Milton Road. So it really is a plea on behalf of, and I know that Mr. Bond raised this in a question earlier today, that, you know, they're pretty much trapped with within the railway, the A14 and the river, and they only have those three exits and ways in, and I think we would like to see them still have all three of them, and that Union Lane not be closed off.
Okay, thank you. And before any discussion or any questions, obviously, is there a second of this, please?
Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Cabinet. Okay, I'd like to go to officers, please, for initial thoughts and ideas on this amendment, and whether there's any major changes to what's in our papers, and anything that you might actually make happen.
What I would like to say is we'd be more than happy to advise any member of the Assembly who wants to consider an amendment on whether it best be drafted beforehand and discuss the implications with them beforehand. Something we're used to doing in county council committees and city council committees, while I'm not happy to do that in the future. I think, again, just absorbing these as we see them, I don't think there's any difficulty until we get to little one, where in the main we are seeing a single bus lane, but our view is there are a couple of locations, particularly approach to key junctions for this to American bus lanes in both directions. And that is set out in the report. So 80%, in alignment with what we recommend, we would say this is still a case of looking at two-way bus lanes just on approaches to Elizabeth Way and King's Hedges Road junctions. I think 2 and 3, I think, get to the nub of one of the issues on Milton Road. I'm not sure they're mutually compatible. I'm not sure you can have an absolute line on cycleways and an absolute line on green strip the whole way. I don't think you can fit both of those in turn length. And that is the difficulty we have with this edge of Milton Road. So they're not, you ask us to do something that is probably physically impossible now. I think they bring it in those absolute terms. If we can say, oh, it's desirable, bringing it in those absolute terms, we see it's quite difficult. Union Lane, take it on in terms of understanding the implications in greater detail, particularly in terms of the access and capacity work in the city centre and the modal shift impacts of that on East Chesterton. Recognising East Chesterton is quite difficult to get out of in car, but there are big advantages to closing Union Lane in terms of bus priority on Milton Road and in terms of cycle and pedestrian facilities at that junction. Hence, that's why we continue to recommend it, but we do understand it's difficult for residents of East Chesterton. Highworth Avenue, we would be fairly comfortable with accepting that, although we do see this challenging to actually provide any sort of meaningful and really good pedestrian cycle facilities like a roundabout. And then obviously in terms of signalling, getting buses through in seconds, we see that essentially why we're proposing not replacing that junction with a traffic signal junction. And then F obviously you've discussed that a very similar amendment on the history road item. It does add time into the process. And what essentially we're asking us today is to recommend to the board a preferred option that would then be done for the public consultation, and we keep making that point. And the is very happy to put the slide back up that shows how many further stages we've got to go in these projects yet. This is simply about defining the shape of the scheme for the next stage, for the next round of consultation.
Okay, thank you for that. Obviously, that answers my question. Is there are some quite significant changes which wouldn't necessarily be incorporated in the original way of thinking. Can I just say, my job here is to try and facilitate as much as possible. And obviously, anything like this, and I appreciate how much work has gone into this, and your other amendment, which was withdrawn. But we really need time, I think, as an assembly to be able to absorb and ask questions. And officers, I think, certainly need time to actually absorb and actually be able to comment on any questions that we have. That's personally where I am at the moment. As much as I want all these ideas coming forward, I think they've got to come forward a lot earlier. I think you made a comment for your History Road amendment. Because it's very difficult just to be presented with an amendment as detailed and comprehensive as this, and then we're not getting it from officers exactly, they have to look into it a lot more. We don't know exactly what the implications are. That's where I'm at the moment. I'm going to open it up to the floor because we have had a proposal and a seconder for this, so I'll open it up. Councillor Smith.
Okay. Just point out that, you know, if you had approved my amendment, this is what you would have got. Because I imagine that you are quite rightly, as a local member, responding to concerns that your residents have put to you. Well, my amendment was exactly that, so that the residents had the opportunity to input further, and yet you rejected that, but here you are actually asking for the same thing. Missed opportunity.
That's me sold off then.
Not yet. You might be officially in a minute. Okay. I haven't got anyone else that wishes to speak on this. Yes, Councillor Dick, well, I will come to you in a minute. What I'm saying is that my hands are a little bit tied because there is an amendment on the table that's been seconded, and I'm not sure we have all the details, but if no one else wishes to speak, then obviously I'll go to vote. Councillor Dick.
I'm not sure how helpful this is going to be, but that's going to be my view. I think the problem with this for me is the undeliverability, frankly, of part of it. It's really difficult, however sympathetic you are with the goal, to put your hand up for something that, you know, we're told up front that it's undeliverable. Aspirationally, maybe could go along with it. And you know, taking the whole thing aspirationally, I would tend to support this approach because it's less damaging than the other recommendations. But I think, really, preferably, I would not be seeing the change until we've got proper forecast figures from traffic reduction measures. But you know, as an amendment, if this was changed slightly to make it clear what it was seeking, if possible, rather than absolutely requiring, I could support this. And I don't know if there's a scope in the way the meeting works for the sponsors to do that.
Okay, thank you for that. Give me 30 seconds while I confirm the Vice Chair, please. The Vice Chair wishes it to remain as it is. He appreciates the concerns that members had, but at least he has had his moment in court, I guess. So therefore, we will go to a vote on this. The amendment in front of us is as per the papers that's gone round, which I haven't got in front of me anymore. Thank you. Okay. So it's basically Milton Road 5, A, B, C, D, E, F, G to replace the recommendations on page 75 of 5, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So all those in favour, as it is as an amendment, please raise your hands. 3 hands. All those against, please raise your hands. 4 and abstentions. Okay. Right, I think that this is a good example. It has lost, but obviously we can take those recommendations that most of them seem very, very well worked out, and we can incorporate them going forward. So thank you very much for that. And that's how I will report it to the board. Right. Okay, thank you. So now we're back onto the papers as per agenda item 10. We have the recommendations 5A to G. Does anyone wish to comment on those at all? Councillor Lee.
Mr. Chairman, on page 94 of the main papers, we have 2 diagrams showing increases and reductions in traffic that's envisaged from these schemes. And it's merely because I don't think and it's really because I don't understand them. And particularly, if I could look at the bottom of the 2 diagrams, the E and P. As I understand it, this shows a considerable increase in traffic through East Chesterton, going towards town between 5 and 6 p.m. But I can't see where that traffic comes from, because all of the links seem to show a reduction in traffic. So is there an easy explanation
as to why we have all these extra journeys in East Chesterton that don't appear to come from anywhere.
Okay, thank you.
I would be speculating, if I was perfectly honest, without going back and asking the model is that may be the impact of traffic coming from East Chesterton, not able to use Union Lane.
Sorry, really off of there, objection. Would that not result in a change in traffic levels on Milton Road or Armory Road? That traffic must have come from somewhere.
Just a minute.
I'd have to go back and ask that detailed question of traffic orders, to be perfectly honest, but I think these diagrams are showing percentage changes, so that it'll be different. If you have a relatively small increase on a quiet road, sorry, a relatively small increase in American on a quiet road, that's a big percentage, but a reduction on a busier road is a much smaller percentage.
Could we have the answer outside the meeting and emails or wills? That would be good. Thank you, Councillor Lee, for the question. Okay, I have no other people wishing to speak on this, so I'm going to go to the vote as per the recommendations on page 75. Recommendations 5A to G. I won't read them out, but as per the paper this time. So all those in favour, please raise your hands. 6, Chairman. Against? 3, Chairman. Abstentions? 1, Chairman. So that's carried. Thank you very much.